My
Wow.
nickname in the press is the Oprah of LinkedIn. I said, I really want this book to be an affordable standalone option for
Hmm.
people so they can get all of this insight that I normally share with my C-level executive clients. And I just wanted something to fill the time when between like looking for my next head of marketing role. And I got into the LinkedIn video beta and I started creating videos on LinkedIn. I did over 800 daily consecutive videos. My
Wow.
nickname in the press is the Oprah of LinkedIn because I did so many videos.
She's the visibility strategist, proving that even the quietest voice can build the loudest impact. All right, Goldie, welcome to Shine AF. Again, I am so excited that you're here. I think I told you I just remember scrolling and just kind of looking and trying to find interesting people, and you popped up, and I was all in. So I don't know if it was the green hair or the pictures of you or what, but I was all in.
Thank you so much. And I have to say, the cover of my book, Personal Writing for Introverts, is also green. So I am all about the green branding.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, so Goldie,
Yes,
you're a global keynote speaker, personal
yes,
branding expert for introverts, and
yes,
a sea monkey rancher. I'm just
yes.
saying that range alone deserves a standing ovation. Okay. So where do we even begin? But with that, I love that you're talking visibility in a way that feels
Yeah,
sustainable and it's not performative, which I think is really cool. So before we jump in and have some fun with my Shine AF questions,
yes.
you help so many people feel seen. What does being seen look like for you in this season?
Oh gosh, what a big question. I think wow. Being seen for me, and I love that the question is in this season because I think it does change over time. For me right now, it's people reaching out to me and saying that they've read my book, right? And so they're seeing me through my words, which is very interesting. I wrote for Forbes for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so people used to reach out to me and say, like, I read your Forbes column. And it's so cool now. People are reaching out and saying, I read your book. And of course, it's introverts, so they do it really quietly and softly. Um, but I'm getting so many people who are giving me positive feedback on my book, and I'm very thankful and grateful for that.
So, what led you from Forbes magazine to
Right.
I'm going to write a book? How'd you get there?
Yeah, so I think we have to go back a little bit further than that even. So I worked in digital marketing branding for over a decade, and I hit all the way up to, head of marketing in 2017. And then I was in what I like to call sabbatical, which is a fancy way of saying I was unemployed. And I just wanted something to fill the time between like looking for my next head of marketing role. And I got
Mhm.
into the LinkedIn video beta and I started creating videos on LinkedIn. I did over 800 daily consecutive videos. My
Wow.
nickname in the press is the Oprah of LinkedIn because I did so many videos. And also from that time, Forbes found me and was just like, hey, would you? I just wanted something to fill the time between like looking for my next head of marketing role. And I got
Mhm.
into the LinkedIn video beta and I started creating videos on LinkedIn. I did over 800 daily consecutive videos. My
Wow.
nickname in the press is the Oprah of LinkedIn because I did so many videos. And also from that time, Forbes found me and was just like, hey, would you like to write a column on personal branding and storytelling? So I wrote a column called Personal Branding and Storytelling in the Digital Age for many years. I became a senior contributor there
Right.
when those
Right.
books came out, right? And I also think a lot of them focus on the in-person because they're like, here's how to be better in person. But I wanted a really holistic book that focused on in person, but also your online presence, because as we know, that makes up so much of our personal brand. And if you're an entrepreneur, especially, it can make up so much of your business.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I love what you said about introverts because I also think it's this idea of, oh, well, how are they going to take this book? I always said, I always tease my friends and they always say to me, people think when you use the word introvert, it's like they look at you a certain way. And it's like, it's really not that deep. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, and I think I was at this dinner a couple of months ago, and I think it's so funny because I sat next to this woman and she just was like, I told her I wrote this book, and then she was just saying, Well, she's like, I used to be an introvert, now I'm an extrovert. And she's like, I taught myself how to become an extrovert. And she's like,
Hmm.
I'm going to launch a course that's how to go from introvert to extrovert in 30 days. And and I was like, well, support you
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah.
And she's like, do you want to take this course? And I was like, absolutely not. I have no interest in becoming an extrovert in 30 days. Also,
Right.
I personally believe that we are naturally somewhere on the introvert to extroverts,
Yes.
spectrum internally, right? And we can
Yes.
also have things that happen that make us become more introverted or more extroverted. But I think to me, it actually is one of those things that I don't think you should take a class for. And I also think introverts have so many amazing abilities and
Yes.
superpowers that I don't feel that you need to become an extrovert. In fact, I think so many of the books out there tell you that because they're from a perspective of an extrovert writing for introverts.
True, true. And I like
Yes.
what you said about being on that spectrum because I always say I'm introverted, extroverted. It just kind of depends.
Yes.
Because like for me, I love my time. Like I'm
Yes.
okay with being alone. I love my time.
Yes.
And I always say when, I'm good around people till I'm not. But then it's like, okay, I've had enough feel of the folks.
Yeah.
Now it's all about me and my time. So this idea of like you said, you just kind of converting within a month, it's you just stay where you are. Be happy in your lane. How about that? So,
Yeah, I also think like also the urge to, and I 100% get this, the urge to productize every single thing
yeah.
in our lives, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I feel like not everything needs to be deeply productized down to the letter.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank
that's just
you.
my own personal perspective on things, but
Yeah.
I did think it was funny that as soon as I said that, she's like, boy, do I have a product for you. And I was like, okay.
I'm so glad you said that because I feel like anytime you're anywhere, everybody's trying to sell you something. And
Right.
again, I appreciate the hustle, but I don't have to
I
buy everything.
appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And that's of course just me talking about, I'll be brutally honest. Like one of the things that I'm working on this year is that I need to have a better content and product system because I
Mhm.
am just not a salesperson at heart. I did not write this book to sell a ton of things. I wrote this book to help people. But that being said, I'm going to also eventually do a companion course because people are asking me for it. And I didn't launch it at first because I said, I really want this book to be an affordable standalone option for
Mhm.
people so they can get all of this insight that I normally share with my C-level executive clients and they can get it at an affordable price.
Well, I'm just going to say amen because we're a lot alike in that regard. I don't know how many
Yeah.
times somebody has said, are you going to write a book? What do you have? And I'm like you, I just come, I come from the heart, like very
Yes.
sincere. That's why I know
Yes.
I would not be a good salesperson because as soon as you tell me no, I'm good. Like I
Yeah.
just walk away. All the years I worked in retail, I didn't bug people. They'd walk in, hey, how you doing? If you want to buy something that's great, if you don't, I'm going to be okay. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So,
Yes, I think that's why I don't know that I would be great. I've worked retail before. I feel like retail and food service
yeah, yeah, yeah,
teaches
yeah.
you about the soul.
It really does. It really does. All right, Goldie. Well, let's get into it.
Yes.
You hear the phrase shine AF. What does
Okay.
that mean to you personally?
I think it means personally to me being your truest self and having other people see that true self because
Yeah,
it is clear in an unfiltered version of you that is shining through.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. What's one moment in your life or career where you had to remind yourself to shine even when everything felt messy?
Whew, okay, so I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a breast cancer
Hmm.
survivor. So I think the easiest example for me is when I came out of, I did the whole gamut. I did chemotherapy, I did surgery, I did radiation. I didn't work for 6 to 8 months. I had to shut down my business. And when I started working again, it was really obviously incredibly difficult because I had to refine who I was, who I am as a person. I had to redefine what my business is because unfortunately I didn't have the luxury of just not working ever again. Um, and I think that I had to find a way to shine that was really that made me feel comfortable in my own skin, which I wasn't comfortable in my own skin at the time. I remember I needed new headshots, so I had to do a headshot shoot. And the worst time to do a headshot shoot or like, photographs is when you feel
Hmm.
so insecure in your own body. And I shot with this amazing photographer, Mercedes Zapata, who's like just she's so cool. She's based out of now Chicago. But she has these like very beautiful, colorful, inspired by her heritage shoots that she does. And I remember feeling so uncomfortable when I got to set, so uncomfortable the attention's on me. But knowing that, I needed these for work, so I'm going to just tough it out and try to shine through them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, first of all, I'm just God bless you. We're glad you're
Thank
here.
you. Thank
And
you.
yeah, I can only imagine. I have aunts on both sides. I have a, mammogram coming up. I'm very anal about that. And
Great.
I've sat with many of friends who are breast cancer survivors, and yeah, it's a lot. It takes a toll. Even on the outside of people who are like, "Oh, we didn't know you were sick." Doesn't matter. On the inside, trust me, there's a
Yep.
lot going on. So,
There's a lot going on. Yeah. I think about this young lady that I know, and she is in her early 20s. And she got diagnosed, and she didn't want to tell anyone at work because she doesn't want to lose her job. And I completely respect that, right? Like whatever choice is your choice.
yeah.
I was very public with my journey, but she's very private, and so she lost all her hair, and it was wild because everyone thought she was just doing a really cool hairstyle. Like they were like, "Oh, you shaved your head. You're like being really edgy," and she's like, really cute girl. Like so, the shaved head looks like an aesthetic. But
Right.
I thought it was so interesting. That's how she'll have to process that trauma later that people thought she just was doing a cool hairstyle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, but I can understand because that's a whole nother topic as far as women at work having to go through stuff.
Yes.
I get it. I get it.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So Goldie, confidence is always loud. What does it look like for you when it's quiet?
And you know what? I'll say this. I do have a section in my book called Loud Introvert,
Mm.
but I think that confidence can be quiet and that you can believe and
Yeah.
show up in a specific way. So I think a good example of this is confidence versus ego, one of my favorite subjects to talk about. So I
Yeah.
feel like ego is when you shout who you are in the room,
Hmm.
and confidence is who you are in the room. It's when we show up to, say, even a small group gathering, like 20 or 30 people, and there's that one person who walks through the room with purpose, and they
Hmm.
walk through the room and they're so just eye-catching, and they seem like a person who just, has their stuff together, right? And that is to me confidence in the room versus
Yeah.
you sometimes have people who show up and then they are just like, I am this, and I'm this, and it
Right.
comes from a place of insecurity, and you
Oh
can
yeah.
tell that, and it's something where I think it naturally is a little repulsive, right? And of course, there's
Yeah.
also loud confidence, which is like they come in the room, they're so happy, and they're just like, I'm this, and people love it,
Yeah.
right? But I
Yeah.
think that there's so many times people mistake ego with confidence. And I
Yeah.
think quiet confidence is the best way to be confident. I have actually there's a GIF of me saying this floating around the internet, which is my favorite catchphrase, calm and confident.
I love that. I love that. It's so funny what you said about the ego because I always call them adult toddlers. They walk in the room, they're like, I'm here. And you're like,
I'm here.
okay, that's great for you. Just sit down. You know?
Yeah, they're always shouting, they're announcing themselves entering the room. And,
Yeah.
if you are truly an important person, you don't need to announce when you enter the
Hello.
room. Other people will do that for you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Who or what helps you get your shine back when life tries to dim it?
I will say I have a really wonderful partner, and so he is so helpful for getting my shine back. And we
Yeah.
we do silly little adventures together, and we travel together quite a bit for both of our work is very different. So I really work in the marketing, branding, B2B, very serious space. He's a children's animation show writer and does
That is
comedy for a
awesome.
living. Yeah.
I
Um,
love that.
and so it helps me to get my shine back, to have like a supportive partner, to have really supportive friends and loved ones who are around me. I also, because I'm an introvert, I need internal time to recharge. So I try to go for walks every single day. Yesterday I had 8 meetings back to back to back, which is,
Wow.
and I'm sure you've been there, right? We've
Oh
all been
yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
it was just a long day. So I walked a mile to, there's this great store called Daiso. I think they have them in Atlanta too, but they're like Japanese home goods stores where you buy
Okay.
everything, everything's inexpensive. So I
Yeah.
walked to the local Daiso, which was very cool. And it was a good way just to also just walking. I find
Yeah.
is a good way to just turn off my brain. So I'm not performing, I'm not on camera, I'm not doing
Mhm.
anything. I'm just getting to the destination.
And you're feeling the sun and the wind and just, you
And
know what
you're
I mean?
feeling the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of us have vitamin C deficiencies because we don't go outside. And I
Yeah.
get it in the winter, especially in certain climates where you can't. It's hard to go
Right.
outside, right? But
Yeah.
there's no excuse for the rest of the year when you actually do have good weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. If someone watching this is struggling to believe in their own light, what would you tell them right now?
I I just have like a bunch of little catchphrases, so I apologize that I'm a little
No.
cartoon
I,
character.
I love a good
But
catchphrase.
but
You're good.
I always think about finding the light in the darkness. And I think that especially right now, we are in a world that is very stressful. We are in a world that is very overwhelming. Many things are happening just across the US in particular, and even in LA, we have a lot of things happening here. But I feel like when you get too heavy with the darkness, what I like to do is I like to find moments of joy, right? And instead of thinking about joy, because people think of toxic positivity and smiling and all that. I like to think of moments of awe, right? What is awe inspiring to you? Because awe is such a specific feeling. And I think we
Yeah.
don't think about awe in the right way. Maybe my second book will be on that. But
Yeah.
I really love the idea of thinking about, for example, in the Bay Area, which you've said you've been to with your son, and I think that's
Yeah.
wonderful. There's the redwood forest, if you've ever been
You've been
there.
there.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it is
Yes.
awe-inspiring to
It
be in that
is.
space with these trees
Yeah.
that have been alive longer than I have, and you get the fresh air too. So I'm sure that
Mhm.
helps. But it's what Star Wars was based off of and all these nerdy things, but it is very awe-inspiring. And I think we are all awed by different things. And I think if we can find that awe again, that is such a beautiful and wonderful feeling of getting your shine back because you are reaching into yourself and you are
Mhm.
restoring yourself.
I love that, especially thinking about the trees. Yeah, because you're standing there, you're just like, wow.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
used to, I used to be a happiness chaser and tell people to, like, chase happiness, but I think happiness is so hard because then we think about that dopamine hit, right?
yeah.
And the dopamine hit to me is very dangerous because there are many things that give us dopamine that are not good for us, and
Yep.
a lot of us use different crutches to get through the day. I'll say this, like I love mini toys. So I'm like a miniature collector. And so I do retail
Yeah.
therapy, as a lot of us do. But, instead of thinking about that, thinking about experiences. And I think
Yeah.
experiences and good experiences, right? Not unhealthy
Right.
experiences, are such a good way to start to think about how you can build that shine back in. Because I think you know this too. You literally are doing the Shine podcast. You're the queen of Shine. Um, I think that when you are a shiny person, people are naturally going to be attracted to you and they're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to work with you. They're going to want to be your friend.
Yeah, that's true. All right. If your confidence, Goldie, had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Um, oh my gosh, a theme song. Okay, let me think. So this is not it. Okay, so if I had to, pick my perfect white girl
Yeah.
song, it would probably be Delicate by Taylor Swift. I'm just gonna be brutally honest, right? That's probably it, right? Um, but it's so funny because my partner loves Garfield. So there's a Garfield song that came out in 1970 from by Lou Rawls. It's jazz and it's called "Here Comes Garfield."
I,
It's
you
just
know what? I think I know that song.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of people know this song, but
Yeah.
it's very cheesy and there's something about whenever I hear it too, I think about my partner, but
Yeah.
we got to stay at the Garfield Influencer Suite. Long story. Um Basically, long story and part of that story is something went viral. We got to stay at this influencer suite around Garfield.
Nice.
And I remember blasting this song in this Garfield themed room, and it just makes me like smile when I think about it. But that would be
Yeah.
maybe one of the songs. I think I probably have a full soundtrack. Also that one song that's just been stuck in my head lately, which is Why Do Birds Suddenly Appear every
Because
time
that's a fun because it's
you're
a fun song.
yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
love
like just
that.
like a cute
Yeah.
song, and I think it's
Yeah.
like just a sweet classic song,
Yes.
and I love that song because I feel like the moment I start singing that song out loud, if I say it in public, other people chime in because everybody just like
We
knows
all
the
know.
lyrics
We all
to
know
that
that
song, and
song.
I don't know
Yeah.
why we know the lyrics to that song, but we just do.
Right.
So.
All right. Who would play you in the movie version of your life?
Okay, she's she's aging out a little bit, I think, but I adore Gemma Chan. I mean, we have the same
Um,
last name, but she is just
yeah,
like fantastic, powerful actress. She's so good, and she's,
yeah.
actually Chinese, so I love it when the character is played by the person actually of your race.
Yes,
Um, and
yes.
she's a fantastic actress. So I would love her to play me in the story of my life. And I don't know who'd play the younger version, but someone very talented, hopefully.
Nice, nice. And I do have to say, I love what you wrote about Bridgerton because
Yes.
I'm big on representation as well, and I think that's another thing that drew me to Bridgerton as well. So I mean, anyway, Shonda Rhimes can do no wrong in my book.
Shonda Rhimes is
So
a powerful, creative and human being. But yeah, I think before I told you what I love about Bridgerton this season, which I just finished watching, finally, is that you have both the protagonist and the villain are both
yeah,
Asian, and they're both a different kind of Asian too, which is also really rare.
yeah.
And you don't have just one or the other. And then you also have like one of my favorite characters this season is Posey, who, if you
Mm,
watch Bridgerton at all, she is just like this light-hearted, sweet gal who, is maybe not the smartest person in the room, but she is so sweet and kind and thoughtful. And there's so many different characters who are Asian. And I think also that's what's so wonderful about Bridgerton is you also have so many characters who are black who are different, right?
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have just the one protagonist. You
Right.
have a villain sometimes you have the protagonist, but you have also other people who are, and I love the diversity within the characters itself.
Yeah, because after a while, you don't get caught up on what they look like. You know what I'm saying? Whereas,
Right.
because we normally don't get that. So
We
it's
normally
nice
don't get
to
that.
have rich characters. Oh, okay, yeah, the queen's black. And you just, you know
And
what I mean? So,
right,
I
and
love
she's looking for
that.
a diamond, but she's not looking also, the diamond can be
Yeah,
anyone, right? So
right.
I
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Bridgerton this season. I'm such a fan of it. I have to shout out also one of my friends, did K-pop Demon Hunters, also another great
Okay. Yeah.
movie that came out
Yeah.
this year with for representation. Yay.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. All right. What's one trend or moment right now that makes you either roll your eyes or shout, yes?
I have a trend. This is such a great question. I have a trend that makes me do both right now, and that is China maxing.
What is that? Okay.
So on TikTok right now, there is a trend of folks who are not Chinese being like,
Okay.
I'm in a very Chinese time of my life, right? And and
What?
I have to both eye roll because it is a very eye rolly statement for somebody who's
Yeah.
not Chinese to say that, and I'm Chinese American.
Yeah.
Um, And then they, of course, pick a lot of rituals that they think are Chinese and then focus and do videos on that. And then say, this is what being Chinese is, right? As a non-Chinese person.
Uh,
Yeah, we don't need to go too deep into that, why that's
yeah,
problematic. But there's,
yeah,
so I'm eye rolling, but at the same, and then I will say, the cool thing, though, the weird positive part about that, oh, I'm smiling a little bit,
yeah.
is that people also have been, like this year for Lunar New Year here in Los Angeles, I think there was a record turnout for Lunar New Year, which, by the way, is a parade that we do through Chinatown and it's very mixed. So
Mhm.
you have the Latino community come out in full force, you have some of the Black community come out. It's very welcoming to all
Yeah,
communities outside the Asian community because LA is a melting pot of many
right.
diverse cultures. But it was record attendance this year, and I think because China was trending and people were like, "Oh, I want to do Lunar New Year stuff too." So in some ways, it was really positive because it exposed people to be interested in
Right.
culture in their local communities. And I do love that. I do love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do appreciate that part. I appreciate that part.
Yeah.
All right. Coffee, cocktails, or mocktails? What's your go-to that fuels you?
These days it is for sure coffee.
Okay.
My friend shot a Keurig commercial and got me a Keurig machine. So I'm drinking coffee all the time, every single day.
Okay.
But I will say I do love a good mocktail, like a good virgin mojito. Is
Hmm.
always also really, really nice. And I feel like less dehydrated than I do when I have alcohol, if I'm honest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the lesson your life keeps teaching you that you want others to hear?
Oh gosh. The lesson that my life keeps teaching me is be a good person. I
Hmm.
don't know about other people, but I am always rewarded for being a good person and I'm always punished for being a bad person. So the moment I actually try to cheat the system or try to do this or that, I am always, I love the word smited because it's so funny, but I'm
Yeah.
always smitted. I don't know what the
Uh,
verb is for that. I'm smitten, but not in the good way of smitten, right?
right.
I Yes, it's so funny because karma has a way of getting to me. If I try to just like circumvent even just a
Right.
little bit, it immediately catches me to the point where it's just so wrong. So other people can get away with all these things, and I have
Yeah.
to be on the straight and narrow because it will catch me. It will catch me right away,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I have to be really good a lot of the
I,
time just
I,
because life does
yeah.
that for
No, I feel you. I always say I'm the oldest daughter. I'm the ultimate rule follower
me.
because God forbid if as soon as I don't I break a rule. So I feel you on that. I feel you on
Yes,
that.
yes, yes.
All right. Finish this sentence. Right now, I'm shining AF because.
Right now, I'm shining AF because I am rediscovering my creative era.
Mm,
And period there.
nice.
Yeah, I
I
think
love
right now
that.
for me, just to elaborate really quickly, I do a lot of work with these really big brands and I do a lot of strategy work and I'm very cerebral. I do a lot of writing. I don't do a lot of just for fun creative projects that I wish for because once again, the idea of monetizing everything, productizing everything is so strong. But I've gone back to just doing silly little creative things. I just did a ring workshop with my friend where we sat and we did a workshop with a group of women we don't know, and we did silver clay and we made our own silver rings. So it was very, very cool to just do creative things again.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. This has been awesome just to not only meet you, but get to know you and laugh with you and all that
Thank
good stuff.
you.
So I wish you all the best this
Thank you.
2026 and look forward to running into you again and having more conversations.
Yes, same.
Thanks. That was Goldie Chan, proof that clarity, kindness, and courage can build a brand that lasts. Subscribe, stay connected, and I'll see you at thenicolegray.com.